Are you one of the people who let their emotions decide for them? You don't have to be embarrassed about it. We are only human, right? Studies show that it's not that emotion is bad when it comes to money. It's more that we don't use it effectively. We don't really grasp that emotion. If you're scared, you can let that fear paralyze you until you wake up and your house is in foreclosure. Or you can turn that fear into motivation to get you on the right path. So here are 5 lessons I've learned from the book written by Farnoosh Torabi, Psych Yourself Rich, which can help us build a healthy relationship with money. First, define rich on your own. Money doesn't lead to happiness or fulfillment. Being rich and feeling richly fulfilled are 2 separate concepts. We are seeing the new definition of rich playing out at all tiers of society. It is punctuated by security, savings, enjoying life, and an emphasis on value and quality over quantity. Security, what does it mean in your life? Does it mean that you have the power to protect your health, house, income, savings, investments, and the safety of your loved ones? According to the book, feeling rich is better and a far more achievable ideal than actually being numerically rich. Rich is, in addition to security, the quality and value of our possessions, friends, and relationships. Be honest with your meaning of rich. Not everyone's goal is to become a billionaire, to be like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. Rich, as used in the title of the book, is not about chasing a dollar figure or accumulating more and more wealth. That's not the end game. Second, have a goal. When you get rich, then what's next? What's your next plan when you get that boatload of money? Reports show that 1/3 of the lotto winners file for bankruptcy within the next 5 years after their win. This is not just to those who hit a jackpot, but also to those who are striving to up their savings, investments, and business. The more certain and specific our goals are, the better we are able to be productive, stay the course, and get out of trouble. The answer is a 5-year lens, as the author calls it. Think 5 years ahead. By now, we should know ourselves well enough to predict what we may need and want personally and professionally in the next 5 years. Some might think that this was unnecessary, that you want to live life spontaneously, but here's the thing. A 5-year strategy lets you manage your money and your goals at a more consistent and tangible pace. I tell you, it wasn't designed as a buzzkill. Even if you don't hit it at all, the discipline and focus you gain from sticking to a 5-year plan will ensure your money stays safe and managed well. To be able to build your 5-year plan, you need to know where you stand first. Evaluate your current financials. Do you have debt? Your savings? How about your job? And if you have problems managing your money, be it on spending or paying bills, evaluate it, own up to it, and don't be afraid to deal with it. From there, try to think where you want to go. This is where you make the list of your 5-year personal, financial, and professional goals. What would you like to change for the better? These lists are the ones you want to cross out after 5 years, like starting a family, owning a house, switching careers, or if you'll stay in your current job. You can be as specific as possible. What you aim here is to be conscious and be prepared for the possibilities that can help you manage your money and draw your 5-year map. But as you imagine, in the next 5 years, it's very important to consider what can happen, the good and the bad. Being pessimistic can sometimes pay off. I'm not saying to be completely negative and disagree to be a positive thinker, but being that way completely can fall into a victim of hype, and in reality, it could also cause you harm. Being in the stock market, a job loss, housing, or buying a property, a little pessimism could serve as a shield against risk because it ensures preparedness. So be pessimistic enough, and then you can now develop your strategy, a plan to attack against risk and unfortunate events. Third, organize, don't agonize. Let's admit it, messiness is distracting. As Benjamin Franklin said, that for every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned. The lack of organization can result to anxiety, confusion, and a feeling of helplessness. And when it comes to your finances, a lack of system or strategy is nearly 10 times worse, because you're not only sacrificing your peace of mind, but you're potentially sacrificing your financial well-being. For those people with mindlessly spending, with an unpaid bills and credit card statements, their big question is, where do I begin? This is how you start taking care of this mess. Whenever you feel lost, stop for a moment and remind yourself of your obligations and goals. Take time to write it down, your short-term and long-term goals, so that whenever you feel that way, you can easily remind yourself who you are and what you want in life. But it doesn't end there. You need to clear the clutter, not the clutter of your old receipts, but the conscious and unconscious distractions you do that doesn't support your financials. It could be a peer pressure or social expectations that you need to look and act in a certain way, like being on trend with the gadgets, material things, and even attending a social event. The unnecessary things that doesn't help you achieve what you really want. Identify your clutter and get it out of your system. And lastly, make it a habit to go back to your obligations and declutter. Deal with it right away. The key to getting out of bad spending habits is to track it. Every purchase, every money that goes in and out of your pocket, up to the last cent. With these, you can analyze yourself to where your money goes and be mindful with your spending. Nowadays, it's very easy. You don't need to write it down using pen and paper. It was just under your fingertips. You can even download Money Tracker app for free. There's no excuse to not be organized. Fourth lesson, use cash. What do you carry in your wallet? Is it cash or cards? When we shop, we should always consider the affordability of an item. But we need to fulfill our obligations first to achieve our version of rich. That includes our income, savings, and no debt. From there, look at how readily and easily you can afford it. I ask you if you use your card. Can you religiously track your expenses with it, or minding your purchases every time you shop, even if your card doesn't have any limit? Purchasing through credit card may just get you into a debt trap, but if it's cash, it encourages saving and keeps spending in check. It has limitations compared to a credit card. Once a cash is spent, you can't spend anymore. But credit cards gives you false freedom to shop above their means because it's paperless and invisible. It would lead us to overspending. In fact, credit experts said that credit cards lead us to overspend by 20%. Unlike when we use cash, we tend to think about our actions and purchase what we actually need. You should use cash not only because it's practical, but because it's the right thing to do. Economist Dan Ariely's research finds that cash keeps us honest. We struggle to pay with hard-earned cash because it's painful. In economic terms, he calls it pain of pain. He also gave an example. Imagine going to a nice meal and at the end of the dinner, paying with either credit card or cash. Which feels better? For most people, it's paying with a card. Why? When the timing of consumption and spending coincide, we enjoy the experience less. For this reason, we also fall to unlimited monthly deals and bill me later options even if we end up paying more than we would. He added, we struggle to pay in cash because we struggle to see it disappear. If you want to make your savings boom, then you really should do the pain of pain strategy. Use cash. Lastly, take a timeout before a purchase. It can avoid impulse buying. Let's take a look at Dave from the example of the book. From a young age, his parents taught him what basic necessities were: food, shelter, and clothing. Anything above and beyond would have to come out of his allowance, which he recalls didn't amount much. This led him to become extremely patient with money and learned how to delay instant gratification. He remembers obsessing a Transformers action figure and have to wait months before he could afford it. For him, the reason was so memorable because that's a tough lesson to learn from the point of view of a child. To save took a lot of dedication and drive. When we do it in an adult perspective, being rash doesn't get you there. Consider the pros and cons and what really is a necessity. Being regretful isn't what we want. We need to lay out a plan and to think what really helps you to achieve your definition of rich and avoid things that would weigh you down. Our emotions and our biases can deeply influence our financial decisions. By getting to know the root of our emotions and realizing that you can control them is the first step toward your financial goals. We should learn and understand what we want and don't want in life, and of course, living within your means. Design your own strategy and your financial map wouldn't be that hard. It would be rewarding as it will help you develop discipline and habits that would lead you to make positive choices. So with that, I hope you've learned something from this video, and if you did and still haven't clicked the like button, I'd appreciate it if you do so before leaving. Thank you and see you in the next video.